So tomorrow is the day, finally. I think there needs to be some kind of a holiday every year or every 2 years before the vote, the pre-election day, whatever. It's a wonderful time of the year because finally finally those horrible attack ads are going to go away and you can get back to your normal level of anxiety. For those of you watching this who are not in the United States, this probably doesn't apply to you, but you'd probably follow our elections maybe more than a lot of Americans do. But this video is specifically for the younger people out there. Because there's this weird thing when it comes to voting, this weird irony, that the people who have the most power to make change are usually the ones who are least likely to get involved. Young people, and I'm talking, I guess, in your late teens, early 20s, mid-20s, if they came out and voted, if you are in that age range, if you came out and voted in droves, in mass, you could own this government. You could have any government you want. And I know you're getting tired of people saying that. I know you're hearing that everywhere you go. But I get it, because the first few elections that I was capable of voting in, I didn't. Because I had the opinion, and maybe many of you do too, that the system's broken, no amount of voting is going to work, my vote doesn't count, I live in a very red state, so it's going to go the way it's going to go, and my vote isn't going to matter. But specifically, and I think many of you out there had a feeling that the only thing that's really going to make anything change in this country is a revolution, right? This country doesn't need a vote, it needs a revolution. Everything needs to be turned upside down. The whole system's broken, the machine, rage against the machine and all that kind of stuff. And I get that feeling. And maybe some of you voted in the last election and it totally didn't go your way, and now you feel like, well, the whole thing's rigged, or the whole thing, nothing ever matters, nothing ever changes. I get that feeling because I was there once upon a time. And I've thought a lot lately about why it is that young people are so less likely to vote than older people. You hear that all the time. And from judging from my own experience, the only thing that I can go with is that I think when you're young, you think that there's going to be a revolution, that there's going to require some kind of revolution for everything to change and for everything to get unbroken in this country. And then as you get older, you get some years under you, and you see how much things do change when different parties and different people are in charge. Because another thing you always hear is no matter how you vote, things are going to do what they're going to do anyway. Nothing ever changes no matter how you vote. That's absolutely not true. And you realize that after a while. I'm 43 years old now. I've seen many administrations from various parties come and go, and I can tell you things do change significantly. Policies change significantly. There are massive consequences according to who is in office. And that revolution that you're waiting for, that revolution that's going to change everything, it's going to make everything count suddenly, it's not going to happen. I thought that too once upon a time. I thought, why vote? Because, there's this whole revolution, we're going to have to march in the streets, and we're going to have to, throw open the doors of power and all that kind of stuff. Storm the Bastille and whatnot. That doesn't happen. I'm sorry. I know that's a tough pill to swallow. It's one of those hard to swallow pill memes. But the revolution ain't coming. The machines and the institutions that run everything right now are too strong. They're too entrenched. And the only thing you can do is vote. And I know that sucks. I know that's not the answer that you want. But it's really the only power you have. And the sooner you start wielding that power, the more you can actually affect change for the things that are going to be happening later on in your life. If there are issues out there that you care about, whether it be climate change or immigration or war spending, and I mean, we could go on and on. Whatever it is, whatever issue you are all about, the only voice you have, as much as it might suck, the only voice you have is your vote. And it's a struggle, or I guess it's frustrating from people on the left over here in Texas, because we are what you call a majority-minority state, meaning that the demographics that are typically the demographics that are typically the majority around the country are the minority here. I am a minority in Texas. Hispanics really are the majority here in Texas. And for some reason, Hispanics just don't vote at the levels that many people want them to. I'm not going to try to espouse as to why. There are many theories out there. We don't really, it could go on and on. But that's something I've been reading a lot about, is they're trying to get out the vote here in Texas. Like, they're just really struggling getting the Hispanic community to vote. And they are the majority. They could literally have any government they wanted here in Texas. Now, that's not to say that all Hispanics think one way or another. I know it's a very varied demographic there. It's not just a one political ideology kind of thing. But the point is, this is the nature of voting in this country. The people who have the most ability to make change are the ones who are least likely to take it. And this is what they want. This is what, the owners of the country, if I could sound conspiratorial for just a second, that's exactly what they want. They want you to stay home. They want you to go to protests, okay? Something that I've been feeling lately is like, if you have been to any of these protests, we've seen these massive protests over the last couple of years. The Women's March, the March for Science, the March for Our Lives. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people coming out in major cities all around the country, with their signs, and they're marching in the streets, and they're angry, and they're doing all this. If you were a part of any of that or supported any of that in any way and don't vote tomorrow, you're an idiot. Because the marching makes you feel good, but it doesn't really change anything. Not really. Every once in a while, you might make enough of a ruckus that something, gets done over here. But the real voice that you have, again, as much as it might suck, the only real voice you have is your vote. So if you're out marching in the streets, that's what they want. They want you out marching in the streets and wasting your time and getting absolutely nothing done and then staying at home when it comes time to vote. That's why there are certain political entities out there that try to suppress voting amongst certain demographics. That's why they make it more difficult to vote than it needs to be in a lot of states. They want you to stay home. They don't want your voice to be heard. And this revolution that you're waiting for, this is it. This is the revolution. Stop chasing revolution and start chasing evolution. You may not be able to change everything about the system that's in place, but you can evolve it over time if you get out and if you vote and if you make your voice heard in that way. That's the only option you have. That's really the only power you have. You probably, if you are younger, don't see that now. I certainly didn't when I was young, but you start to see it when you get older. So I'm clearly not going to come out and tell you which way to vote. Those who know me well and have followed me long enough probably know which direction I lean, but that's not where I'm going here. I'm just trying to reach out to anybody who's in the younger generation, anybody who's been sitting on the sidelines all this time, thinking that there's going to be some big apocalyptic change in society that's actually going to make everything better. It's not going to. I think we as a species in general need to stop waiting for some bigger entity to make change in this world, whether it's God or AI, which is kind of the new God. We need to stop, or aliens. Some people turn to aliens for somebody that's going to come and save us. There's nobody coming to save us, guys. It's just us. And if you don't get off your butt and go and vote tomorrow, you can't affect that change. You can't be a part of it. You're wasting your time. Nobody's coming to save you. There's no revolution coming. You have to do it yourself. Sorry. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank God it is almost over, because I am tired of all the attack ads and I'm ready to get past all this. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. It'll be interesting. I know that I'm going to be driving people to the polls. I'm going to be part of this thing. Actually, if you're in Dallas, it's called Ride Share to Vote. You can get on there. It's basically like Uber for volunteers. I'll be driving around getting people to the polls in my new car. And I figured I got it. I might as well put it to use. But if you have the opportunity to do anything like that, or to get a couple of friends to the polls, make a whole thing out of it, do it. Just do something. Be a part of it. So that's what I have to say. I'm Joe Scott. This has been Too Much Information. If you follow my Answers with Joe channel, this is not that channel. This is my daily vlog channel, which is not as daily as it should be. But this is more type of thing that I do here. I just kind of sit here and talk. If you're into that kind of thing, then please do subscribe. And if you're not into that kind of thing, don't subscribe. I still got this other channel. So I just have to say that at the end of all these now because there's a lot of confusion between these two channels. But there you go. Hope you guys get out and vote. I hope you are doing well. And yeah, new video came out today on the opioid crisis. A little bit different subject, but go check it out. All right. You guys take care.